Always beating, enthusing, never cheesing or choosing. 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 Homestar! Beating, enthusing, never cheesing or choosing. Always beating, enthusing, never cheesing or choosing. Always beating, enthusing, never cheesing or choosing. Always beating, enthusing, never cheesing. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of The Stick, the internet's premier Homestar Runner podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about Senor Cardgage. So make sure to grab your bag of melty candy bars, crank this playlist up on a beige enough device, and curl up with your family might could for a classic episode with myself, Eden, and Dave.
Hey, I'm David, a.k.a. Home Lawn, Escrow, Refinancing. You name it, we've got it.
And today we have a special guest here with us, Matt from HKIP and from Tuning Fork.
Hello, it is me. I'm Lifty Fernandez, and I am not very good at the impresario.
We're back in the saddle. It feels good to be doing the stick again. It's been a bit. I started a podcast, and I think we had one episode of Tuning Fork in the bag the last time we recorded the stick.
Yeah, it's been a long year of school again, but it's the summer, which means maybe I'll actually be able to get a couple of episodes of this podcast in now that I have the free time. Hopefully, I'm planning on doing that. We still got plenty of Homestar related content to explore.
You say it is summer as if we didn't get a dusting of the snow globes today.
Yeah, unfortunately, we've had Sudbury's just kind of had the worst weather for the last 2 months, basically.
Yeah. Also, I can't do that impression the whole episode. It would be impossible.
Yeah, honestly, it would be impossible for me to hear you do that impression for the entire episode as well.
One, it's not good, and then you'll hear me say great phrases like, I need to go and connect my Michael's phone.
We're all gonna have to, gargle something to get the taste of Senor Cardgage out of our mouths by the end of this episode.
Yeah, it's...
May I recommend a fresh brewed stout beverage?
Is it a beverage that's just short, or is it a beverage that's actually stout?
It is... No, I got nothing. The thing about it is that you need at least one completely ruined word in the middle of a sentence.
You do.
And you just corrupt it in some way.
Yeah.
And I can't manage it off the cuff.
I think then we should, if we're starting on Senor Cardgage, should we talk about the episode that introduces him? And I believe that's the email Kind of Cool.
Yes. I was not prepared for this email when it first came out.
It's definitely one of the more orally upsetting episodes of the Strong Bad emails.
Yeah.
I believe
originally released on Monday, December 15th, 2003.
Yeah. So I was 14 at the time, and I'd been watching Homestar at that point for probably just a couple months.
Yeah, I don't think I actually ended up watching any Homestar Runner till 2004, 2005, near the end of elementary. So I was a 12 years old boy. Eden, don't even tell me how young you were at this point. I don't need to know this.
Yeah. I'll say it in a sort of vague referential sort of way. I would not begin watching Homestar Runner for another 6 years after this episode came out.
I see.
Oh man, this was actually, I think, the first or the second email that went up after I had started watching, because the previous one to this one was the caffeine one, and then the colonization email with the fish corn bushes was the previous one to that, and the colonization one was the one that was up when I first got to the site. So yeah, this was kind of a moment for me, which kind of told me what this website was going to be like.
I think one of my favorite running gags with Senor Cardgage is just how cool Strong Bad thinks he is. Or rather, how cool Strong Bad knows he is.
Yeah, because he is very much like, and David, you mentioned this in the chat a little while ago, or I think you in a message to me that he's basically just like improved Coach Z.
Yeah, he kind of seems like a less bad Coach Z. He's a vaguely tallish, middle-aged man who is creepy, but not in like a threatening way. You know, he just is kind of is just kind of an odd vagrant fellow. He's coming. He lives. I guess he lives in a bush, which is like 6 inches tall, and he just kind of rises out from behind it.
He lives in the
rising menacingly
behind
out.
a bush.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, whereas like Coach Z, I would imagine I get a disease just by being in the same general miasma as him.
Oh, sure.
Cardgage seems like he would just like he would give me a poor tasting casserole as a welcoming gift.
Yeah, he's what do they call him? He's the shifty night manager at Stuckey's type.
And then he would refer to me as Hot Pooey.
To invite you inside his bush.
Did that man just call me Hot Pooey?
It's funny how like fully formed Cardgage kind of arrives as a secondary character too in this episode. Like they've basically got all his bits kind of already there. Like he rises out of the bush and you hear all like the traffic noises playing. He has which is one of my favorite little things about him is that you hear the sound of street traffic every time he appears.
It's just one of those moments where you think, Mike and Matt Chapman are geniuses, and they just came up with this shit just completely out of nowhere, just based on the fact that they had spent so much time of their life with these characters, and were just like, what if we did this with Strong Bad? And what's all of the worst possible things we can do to him?
I like the reference to Senor Cardgage in the alternate universes email, where just like all the alternate universes from previous emails came up, and it's just like Senor Cardgage is present there, and he's really the only one who wasn't explicitly introduced as an alternate universe Strong Bad, but he's just like he's accepted to be that.
Do you remember what his line is in the number one jam they record at the end?
Not off the top, but I can find it very
I've got to go
quickly,
look for that.
Sure.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I always forget, because I only remember that episode for DeHudge's high note at the end. But that's more of a just giving myself some nice.
He says, "Let the little childrens know."
Oh, thank you.
I hope they don't explode.
I remember, like, in that episode, at least when I watched that episode, I always felt like that should have been, like, saved to be, like, the finale of Speemails, because it really feels like a very sort of conclusion kind of episode.
They put out, like, 57 more since then.
I know, but I felt like it really felt like an ending sort of episode. I mean, I know it wasn't, but it felt...
I mean, so does 200 Speemails.
That's true. I guess it's just because there's a song in them both.
Yeah, well, I mean, 200 Speemails also had the canonical voice of the Poops Man.
Which was John Linnell.
Which is John Linnell, if They Might Be Giants.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm looking through again the sort of the notes that they have for Kind of Cool on the Homestar Wiki, which is again like exceedingly like comprehensive. Like they have,
it really is like that.
Like they have one where they say that they point out, for example, the lack of a shadow that Homestar casts in one part. That part of the carpet isn't properly textured as shaggy.
Yeah,
it's quite a intense level of dedication that this website has to.
Oh yeah, the goofs section has every single like missing shadow listed. It is absolutely outrageous.
In the Senor Cardgage Easter egg, Strongbad's eyes are not the same size. His left eye is slightly larger. It's
I want to briefly discuss the fact that in this email, he's referred to by Strongsad as Senor Cardgage, but Strongbad refers to him as Senor Cardgage.
and everyone refers to him in such sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's not Seniorial Day, it's Senorial Day. And I think we're just supposed to determined that his first name is Senor.
Yeah.
From that.
And yeah, the accent is not on the N explicitly.
Yeah, I think in his name, I like as they have inside references. That's an inside reference according to the HR wiki. It says this is the first time Strongbad uses the word Senor instead of the correct Spanish word Senor. It has like the little accent above the N, and like
not to be confused with Senor having a little trouble from the Strongest Man in the World contest. I'm having a little trouble.
Thank you, ma'am. Would you care for a slice of gum?
Yeah. I'd love a slice of gum.
Yeah, like
we got to talk about the way he talks specifically.
Yeah,
we gotta get into it.
Because it is one of those things that the wiki does have an entire page for how he speaks.
Yeah, can you link me to that real quick? I want to make sure we're on the same page.
I'm just pulling it up real quick from his. I think it's linked to on his page. I've never remembered where to find it.
It's because it's not an actual page. It's someone's. It's on someone's user page. So I just linked it in the chat.
Oh, thank you.
Gotcha. Analysis user Dorian Gray. Thank you.
Thank you for analysis of Senor Cardgage's speech pattern. So there's an analysis and summary at the bottom, and then on the page is a list of literally everything he's ever said in any email or cartoon.
That's a lot.
Yeah, what I like is that this has clearly been updated because they have
his most recent appearance.
Yeah, they have Hedge packaged sirloin, which.
I'm Senor Cardgage, the lead star from Characters website. I'd like to introduce you to the family might could.
What I do like is, like, for anyone who listens to this episode, I would say, obviously, literally no one here's impersonations of him are going to do any justice for just how, like, again, in my opinion, genuinely upsetting Senor sounds to hear speak.
David's is pretty good.
David's is definitely the closest, I think. Like, I'm not going to do it because it genuinely hurts my throat to try to do his voice.
I like the section at the bottom, possible section about the names he's referred people to ... as. And Strong Bad, of course, has the most. He has Ma'am, Ethel, Miss America, Myrtle Beth, Elizabeth, Gwendolyn, Bontilda, Bridget, Junior, Brathany, Jennifer, Israel, Angela, Bathsheba, Calendula, and Polenta.
I think Calendula is my favorite.
I do like what he calls Strong Sad Helvetica.
And also Montel John, which is one of the other good ones.
Yeah,
I'm Reggie Toupee.
Yeah, he has the three that he's called himself is Tremendous Savings, aka Mr. T. Mendes Savings, Reggie Toupee, and Senor Cardgage.
His left name is Tremendous Savings, Miss America.
So that one, and I can't remember what's the name he calls Strong Bad in this one, but when he tells him that 40 Tuan is on his list.
Yeah, like the eventual analysis that the user comes to is that he seems to be generally aware of his surroundings, but he just uses too many portmanteaus and malapropisms to like actually be coherent, which was used really well in the now hidden video where he was the non sequitur champion.
Oh, that's why was that one hidden?
Because it was like used for the store page only. So like the flash file is still on the website, but there's just nothing that links to it.
Oh, like you have to type in the URL?
Yeah, like there's a direct URL for it. Someone also put it on YouTube, but it looks like shit.
I have seen this one in the past, like the non sequitur championship between him and Hamsar, if I recall.
Yeah, that's where I got Lifty Fernandez from.
Yeah, like the direct,
which is described by this user as a complete gargle mesh of a name.
My dad's favorite character, I think, on HomestarRunner.com is Senor Cardgage, specifically the Senor Mortgage short. This came out in 2004, and I was saying this before we started recording, but I'm pretty sure that right after this video came out in 2004, we were, I think, at my grandma's cabin, because we're Minnesotans and that's what we do.
Naturally.
But there was obviously no Wi-Fi there. But there was a brand new Verizon tower just across on the other side of the lake. So we had really good cell reception. And he had one of those PC cards that could connect to the cell tower. And so we paid for some 2004 wireless web data to watch Senor Cardgage at the cabin.
You've sent me on a fucking portal through time. Also, your dad could not be any more of a dad.
It's very true.
He is just dad.
His favorite part was the line about Chick-fil-A. The come along down for a free consultation.
One of them said they'd buy me lunch, but I don't see nobody taking me to Chick-fil-A.
We got Chick-fil-A in Minnesota recently, so now every time we pass one of those, he says that line.
You're every welcome, Valerie.
I will say though, like I think it's in that same one where he talks about, now I'm gonna hit where he's gonna throw a football to Strongbad, and he tells him that he's gonna hit him on the slant, and then just stands there in throwing position,
and then walks away.
Yeah, which is a thing that I repeatedly did in public to my friends because I was an idiot in grade school. And
I mean, it's very funny.
To the point that, but they hadn't seen Homestar, so it just irritated them. And oh no, that's in.
Let me get you on the slant, little girl.
Well, that's from Senorial Day, part of me, not from Senor Cardgage. It won't be here forever, so come and see me in this little mug for very low prices.
No particularly unusual constructions in the sentence, you bet, how about I hit you on the slant. That was a fully coherent sentence.
I do like the phone number jingle for Senor Cardgage. It's vaguely reminiscent of Empire Today.
It's 5555585 Senor Cardgage today.
No Probalo. Yep.
Yeah, and also No Probalo is probably the most brain wormiest of the sentences from Homestar that has just permanently burnt its way into my speech.
Yeah, that one's it's just a perfectly cromulent thing to say.
No Probalo, that's not a phrase I'd heard before coming to Free County, USA.
Good evening, Buntilda. 40 will be on your list.
Just you wait to cheat. Someday it'll be me tearing tickets and telling people that 40 will be on their list. Yeah, I've genuinely because even before I started prepping for this episode or even doing this podcast, Senor Cardgage episodes would be the ones that I'd go back and rewatch the most, to the point where there's several that I could probably just word for word recite at this point.
I think my favorite Senor Cardgageisms are his portmanteaus. We were remarking earlier how good Hello Chi Minh is. That's a really good one. And then there's one I just went by on the page, and it's probably the best overall Senor Cardgage line that I've ever seen. Hot zervy, Calingula. I've been waiting for you all nice. Waiting. That's so good.
I like what he's... My personal favorite has always been, Alonzo Morning to you, Myrtle Death. Say hello to my tackle box. Because I'm pretty sure Alonzo Morning's just a guy. Not
probably.
Even... Yeah. He's an American basketball player.
That's generally how it works. Although he does say at one point... He's usually referring to, real things in his portmanteaus. Except I'm pretty sure Toyota Cressida... Is Toyota Cressida a real car?
I have no idea.
I don't think so. A Toyota Celica is a real car.
No, it is. A Toyota Cressida is a real car.
Do they still make it?
It was made from 1976 to 1992.
Yeah, okay, that tracks for the references on this website.
Yeah, no, it totally tracks. And I just on this page it says Toyota Cressida is clearly a substitute for an unspecified body part.
There's also Cardigan Montaljon. Can you detect me to the nearest bus stamp? I looked up Cardigan, and it's apparently a kind of red seaweed. that's used to thicken or emulsify and preserve food and drinks.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I've seen that on some ingredient labels before.
Absolutely, I have. Of course, I didn't know what it was or how it was said.
I mean, I'm sure.
But now I know. Thank you.
No problem. I'm sure I ruined its pronunciation, but it's definitely probably the longest reach that he's done as a weird reference.
See, I like when he just kind of like slant rhymes a word, like, you know, just taking a word that's really close but not the right word. Like bus stamp instead of bus stop is really good.
If you go
like opening the podcast, I was trying my own, and that's why I said instead of microphone, I said Michael's phone.
If you go to the store, can you buy me a cheeseburgwich?
Yeah, that Bychus is good. That's just a combination of two words. It's good.
It's extremely good. Getting away from just saying things that he said for a moment. One of the things about him again is like, I feel like, because again we've mentioned that he's sort of like, again, a creep character, a lot like Coach Z is. The one thing I've noticed though is I don't think he ever does anything that's like expressly like bad creepy, like the way that Coach Z does, like leaking a black ooze when he takes his bathing suit off, for example. Like,
no, and people also generally don't seem to respond to him like that horrifyingly. They just kind of like accept him as he's just that weird guy.
Yeah, with the exception
of except for Homestar.
I think
he says he smells like pea stew.
Yeah, I think Strong Sad actually reacts the most strongly.
Right, because that's in the intro. In his intro, he's just like, he's a creepy guy who lived down the street when we were kids.
Yeah, because I know but there's another one later on, like I think it's Garage Sale, like the Speedmail Garage Sale, where Strong Sad says that he feels like he needs a chemical shower after talking to him. Which,
So it's just Strong Sad and Homestar who don't seem to like him, and they're also the ones who react the most strongly to Lil Brother. So take from that what you will.
Marzipan was fairly cordial to Senor Cardgage in a Decemberween mackerel, because
she was trying to keep him alive because he said he was dying.
He's the much really really like super less fortunate than them or whatever.
Yeah, honestly, like that, as a side note, that episode, my favorite, like up until Too Cool came out, was my favorite episode of Homestar. Was this is Decemberween mackerel, because I just really enjoy. Everyone knows that the way to save Senor Cardgage is to tear a bunch of motorsports magazines in half and pour gravy on a defibrillator.
The defibrillator. You decided to take at face value something the guy who lives in a bush and talks to melty candy bars said?
Thank you, Hot Pooey. Would you care to coincide?
You see, again, saying coincide instead of come inside is very good, because it's not.
Or the thing we said before, which was also from this episode, which is you might paste away if you didn't eat more, instead of you might waste away if you don't eat more. It's just really good. Yeah. And I love me some canned Dinty Moore beef stew, as we all do.
Wait, is that what Dinty Moore is?
It is.
I can't believe the Decemberween mackerel is fucking 8.5 years old. I'm fucking decaying. That's fucked up.
Yeah, like
that's fucked up. David comes to life.
True. And it was his most recent appearance for like 6 years, although I don't think anything else was posted in that time either.
That was 2010. That was the Dark Ages.
It was when Matt Chapman was working on Gravity Falls.
And also Yo Gabba Gabba, apparently.
Yeah, he also worked on Yo Gabba Gabba, but he was like practically almost a lead writer on Gravity Falls.
Oh yeah, there's
an occasional voice actor.
He also basically played Strong Bad on the Aquabat Super Show. Because it was a guy wearing an almost identical mask and doing the Strong Bad voice.
Yeah, because when I was watching Gravity Falls, I did notice several episodes where I'd be like, "Yeah, this is just a Homestar Runner episode, but with like slightly different."
And then you look in the credits and you literally just see Matt Chapman.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember the name of the name of one of the characters, but like who does he voice? Like, do you remember?
I think the only person he actually like voiced that was like a named character was when there was a witch that was in one episode, and he was just doing the Teen Girl Squad voice for.
Yeah, that tracks.
In Gravity Falls.
Yeah,
that was on Gravity Falls.
He also did the voice of Mabel's merman boyfriend, Mermondo.
Okay. That's also very good. But yeah, Senor Cardgage is outside of the main cast, the person who showed up in the most episodes, tied with Cheerleader at 29 appearances.
Yeah, I was gonna
He
say it
deserves
really
it.
feels like they really like Senor Cardgage.
I feel like Matt Chapman just has a notebook where he writes Senor Cardgage phrases into. Like, they just seem like the kind of thing that, like, if you're just, like, thinking about yourself talking and you just change a word, you're like, yeah, that could be Senor Cardgage if I just say it in a funny voice. I mean, you both know that I like to just change words at random and be completely inscrutable, so...
Yeah, it genuinely took me about 5 minutes to know what Wells Fargo, it seems like I'm going to set up my Michael's phone was supposed to say.
Might as Wells Fargo.
Yeah, might as Wells Fargo set up my Michael's phone. It's Oh yeah, he basically wrote half of season 2, by the way, of Gravity Falls. I went to go check. He wrote episode 1, episode 2, episode 6, episode 7, episode 11, episode 12, episode 13, and episode 17.
Yeah, his fingerprints are all over that show. And he had like a development deal with Disney, which the only thing that seems to have come of it are the Just Two Eggs shorts, which are on YouTube.
See, I've still not seen I haven't seen that one yet.
The only one I could ever think of off the top of my head is Doobles. Which is just, there's this funny looking guy named Doobles. That's the whole thing.
That sounds like a bit he would do. I'm
sending a link to chat right now just because I've suddenly made a strange mental connection. I feel like Senor Cardgage's speaking patterns are really similar to some of the grammar that's used on thoraxcorp.com.
What is this?
Yeah, I just got a blocked pop-up and I'm vaguely concerned.
This is one of like the ARG websites that went along with Homestar. Like there's definitely an article for this on the HR wiki.
It literally says leg delabor on it, so
yeah.
Like let's just try saying that oldest post in the voice.
Legible bachelor and social gadabout Leg de Labor has seen Joanna Man 2 times since it opened June 21st. I bought the tickets online the first time, but then I forgot to go to the movie, said Leg. But the second time I bought them, I remembered to go.
I got a blocked pop-up with an image that no longer exists, tagged. That according to the date tag on it, says it was uploaded on the 11th of July, 1974. And says, ladies love cool leg. That's right. Thorax is backs. Let your guard down for a second and we're all over your sister. Just pretend we're not here. This will go a whole lot easier. Copyright Thorax Corporation, LLC, 2001.
Copyright?
Yeah.
Copyright?
There's a space between the two. Man, I love this is great. Providing total stardom solutions and second income streams since font size equals +1.
That is a very good one. I'm really glad that they pay for these domains year after year.
Yeah, I don't like what was Thorax Corp referenced in, like.
It originated as a joke website created by the Brothers Chaps. The URL to this site is found in one of the fortune cookies, which was a game that used to be in the museum but was moved to the handheld games menu when the game menu was remodeled. The date was October 29th, 2000 for the fortune cookies. So, yeah, this has been around for a very long time.
Yeah, it's a 19-year-old gag that most people wouldn't find.
Nope. And that's why my name in our Discord server is Leg de Labor.
The CEO Gent de Labor cries out, collections agencies are not charities.
Thorax Corp asks, is there times when you don't know so much? If you answered yes or what, then you need to hear this. Maybe have one of your smarter friends read it to you. New products.
What I also like is if you browse over like the tabs on the far left side of the page, each one says, this is broken, so is this. Same deal here. Yep, I work through. No, you don't. Because every single one of them leads to the same pop-up that says that's the rumors are false.
Except for staph, which is spelled S-T-A-P-H.
Like an
Which
infection.
leads to our gentle staff. Click on a man to read his drunken ramblings. Read our emission statement. I say, Jasper, what is a thorax anyway? Jesus Christ, there's too much on this website to go through in this one podcast episode, but I just wanted to make that connection, and now you both know about this website.
I'm sorry, but there's one last thing I have to read here. It says, insects are divided up into 3 different parts: the head, the thorax, and the abdomen. The thorax is the head of the insect. And that's what Thorax Corporation, LLC, is all about. Getting you ahead of the rest. Okay, I definitely have
Thanks.
Yeah, I definitely have to come back to this again. It's extremely good. But yeah, that's... I wonder if that's... Because there's actually no pictures of Leg de Labor on the entire website. I wonder if he just is Senor. Like, it's one of his many... like his left... I mean, he's already got a couple of different names that he calls himself.
Maybe his face is just a broken JPEG. He had no choice.
Yeah, he's Bubs from Virus. That was a... did out of curiosity, did Senor Cardgage ever show up in like the Teen Girl Squad thing? I seem to remember there being like some overlap, but I don't remember what it was, if there was any at all.
I don't recall him ever showing up in Teen Girl Squad, but I guess
It's true. They do have the complete filmography of Senor Cardgage.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he ever did.
Okay, I guess I'm just having like... Yeah, he's only shown up in 2 episodes according... Oh, never mind. That's a link to complete filmography. Yeah, he's shown up in 29.
He was basically like... Manolios Ugly One had a very similar voice.
That's probably what it was. And he also had kind of similar mannerisms, except he was more violent and a Greek stereotype.
Yeah. Or something like that.
Why does the Homestar Wiki recommend Mozilla Firefox?
I don't know. I'm using Mozilla Firefox, so I'm gold.
I scrolled down to the bottom here, and it says the Homestar Runner Wiki recommends Mozilla Firefox.
You know what I'm gonna say? That probably that probably dates back to before Chrome existed.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
That's fair. I think this wiki has existed at least since 2005-ish.
Yeah, that tracks. I like how it says at the top, we are currently working on 2,999 articles. They're almost there.
Now, considering it does say that the last time Senor Cardgage's filmography was updated was December 14th, 2006. So it does not include his newer appearances.
It doesn't have Too Cool, or no, it does have Too Cool on it.
Yeah, that's really weird. It also has @StrongBadActual from like the tweets that he's been mentioned in.
I think a lot of it auto updates the way it's set up.
Yeah,
probably. Yeah, I have like no idea how the Homestar Wiki works. I added stuff like years ago that I don't remember what it was. It's probably got removed for being like spelt incorrectly or something.
That's internet.
Yep, that is online for you. But yeah, it's just honestly like it's the only problem is like there's only like so much like ground you can dig into in just terms of like reading the phrases and things that he says. But outside of just like the way that he like speaks, he is definitely probably one of like the non-main cast characters who has the most sort of like, again, fully developed character, like in terms of behavior. Like they don't really give a lot to say. I don't know, the robot, I'd say he's even more fully developed than like Marzipan.
Yeah, I could see that. He has a personality other than girl who is a feminist stereotype.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he's definitely like, cause him and like, cause I've always grouped him and Hamsar together in my head because they're the two, the weird talkers, I guess, of the mostly recurring cast. And Hamsar's kind of one joke, whereas like Cardgage has like a full character and can get his own spotlight stories without them just being, kind of repetitions on that one joke.
Hamsar started just because somebody misspelled Homestar in an email. And then they cut away and suddenly he was there going, duh!
I'm the captain of the gravy train. The thing about Hamsar is that he is considered a main character and Senor Cardgage is not for some reason.
I think it's because Hamsar has his own video on the characters page.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Senor Cardgage has appeared enough times that they should just consider him a main character at this point.
That's probably...
Yeah, I agree.
He's kind of like
He's at least as much of a character as, like, Stinko Man. Stinko Man is not at all related to Strong Bad, in my opinion. Like, there's nothing similar about them other than their general color scheme.
Yeah.
Other than that, they have the WrestleMan face.
Are you asking for a challenge?
Like, even old-timey Strong Bad is, like, he's basically just Strong Bad if he were an old-timey cartoon character, but Stinko Man
if he was in vaudeville and
totally
challenged you
his
to
own
fisticuffs.
thing. Exactly. And he wears gentleman's sport gloves. Apparently, old-timey Strong Bad is, or at least was at the time of the G4 interview that they did, Mike Chapman's favorite character. Or no, old-timey Homestar was Mike Chapman's favorite character on the whole website.
God, remember G4?
Now I'll do a dance. I do remember G4.
I do not remember G4.
G4 had a cool late night show called Nocturnal Emissions.
Huh.
Which
challenging stuff here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that is certainly a thing they could call that.
What kind of people
show
who produce content would make a cum joke? That's disgusting.
It was just a show of them playing, like, game trailers for games that had boobs in them. So, like, they were real into Tomb Raider and the Dead or Alive series, of course.
I hate this.
Especially the beach volleyball ones.
They sure have made more than one of those.
They have.
People
because
just...
they didn't get all the plot into the first one.
Yeah, people like to see those those Bahanagahoogs.
Transfer student shows up.
Thanks for making a very clear and deliberate reference that I am fully in the business of understanding.
Oh, we'll show you later. It's fine.
Okay.
You can cut this out.
Okay. No, it's fine. I'm sure someone out there listening will appreciate Transfer Student shows up, but I just need to figure out what that is. I feel like I'd regret Googling it though.
I'll send you a DM right now, but it's just a copy pasta that I think started on Tumblr at least maybe 5 or 6 years ago.
All right.
And I've heard several people read it, but I think maybe ProZD did the best one that I've heard.
Oh, yeah. I've seen this. Okay. I was just...
But reading this in Senor Cardgage's voice would be pretty impressive.
Fuck. I got this new anime plot. Basically, there's this high school girl, except she got huge boobs. And I mean serious honkers. Real set of badonkers. Packing some dombo on honkaroos. Massive duhunka bahonkaloos. Big old ton hanjarikaroos. What happens next? Transfer student shows up with even bigger bahankatong hoogs. Humongous hunga uluma honguru huna ulangu hongus.
See, fucking Christ.
Humbalongongongongus.
Yeah, I was trying to read it like phonetically so I could get it in one go, and I just fucked it up really bad.
I like how the person who did the reading of the post that I'm most familiar with said, "Side note, teaching myself to pronounce that last one felt like learning a new fucking language."
Hungolomghanonolonghongus.
Clearly, whoever designed these words had absolutely no concern for people who are going to read them in the future.
No. Speaking of reading things in Senor Cardgage's voice, I think you had something to edit in here.
Oh yes, I'm not going to read it in Senor Cardgage's voice because I wouldn't do any justice what's going to happen. But thanks, I made a reply to one of Brooks's friend of the show Brooks's tweets at Darkest Lariat on Twitter there from PGOT and Yare Boys and Forced to Retire on HKIP fame. He posted that he found that his Solid Snake impression sounded like just Senor Cardgage, and so the reply was,
Bathsheba, I'm trying to sneak around, but I'm dumpty thick, and the clap of my ass cheeks keeps alerting the guards.
And so for me in the future, this is it here right now. You're about to edit in Sam of HKIP and Jurgen it reading that phrase in a Senor Cardgage voice. All right, yes, I'm gonna put in a little.
Bathsheba, I'm trying to snake around, but I'm dumpty thick. The clasp of my asp checks keep alerting the guards.
It's right there. I'm probably going to be playing a video game while editing this, so I want to make sure.
It's very good.
That voice reminds me of Jay-Z for some reason. I'm not sure why.
Yeah, it does. It does sound a little bit like Jay-Z is the thing.
Go listen to Tuning Fork. You'll enjoy it.
It's a good podcast that I do and David also do.
Yeah. What is this? A crossover episode?
That's Noise Space, baby.
Yep. No. Eventually, for the first anniversary of Noise Space, we should have every host from every podcast come together for one giant recording.
I'm pretty sure I've owned the domain for more than a year now.
Well, then it should. How come this hasn't happened yet? Where we just bring in every single Noise Space host for a Game Master Anthony's birthday of podcasts.
Yeah, we'll get there.
That would be a nightmare to edit.
It's gonna sound. Does anyone have a computer that won't like freeze and then crash recording that? Or
Me.
Like, or alternatively,
Yeah,
is anyone gonna be?
You've got a real Gamer Boy machine now.
I do got a Gamer Boy.
Or fine, then let me rephrase that. Does anybody actually have a computer that won't? Does anybody have like a sufficient enough strength of mind to be able to tolerate the complete oral chaos that episode
Also
would
me.
probably be? That's that's probably true.
Anyway, I feel like if we continue this podcast, we're just going to start reading off Senor Cardgage quotes over and over again, which I don't think will be as fun to listen to as we could imagine.
No, I mean that's true on one hand, but I'm sure there are other sort of one last, I guess, Senor Cardgage references, and that for some reason, when you click on like in his filmography, one of them is just listed as Coach Z pukes in dude's toupee. Which I'd like to talk about this very quickly because I've never seen this.
Yeah, where did that come from?
It says
it's on their YouTube and only their YouTube apparently.
It says definitely a quality videograph of a humorous happening at someone's real wedding reception, and it's like a very short video just of Coach Z puking into Senor Cardgage's toupee, and it says a shaky camcorder accomplished by the brothers chaps recording this animation off a monitor with a real camcorder of a wedding reception in the gymnasium with a slide to the right y'all bridesmaids playing and light shining on the floor. Coach Z, wearing a bow tie and an upturned tuxedo front, is standing at a refreshments table with a punch bowl and a tray of hors d'oeuvres, one of which he is eating. Coach Z, I tell you, strong bad, these bacon rapés sure are, begins to gag, drops his hors d'oeuvre, and I'd like to finish with grabs a toupee from off screen and pukes into it. Camera pans to Senor Cardgage, who feels the top of his bare head. Strong bad quietly to himself, oh yeah, I could smell those 1,000,000+ views already.
To this day, it only has 250,000 views.
Not the 1,000,000+ that Strong Bad expected.
Yeah, apparently the video ID for it was given in an Easter egg, and then you just had to go to YouTube and find it.
This video is an instance of puking, apparently. It's an inside reference.
Welcome back to the classic segment on the stick. Thanks, HR Wiki. And
I'm glad they have a puking page.
I like that they have a page for noun verb. Sometimes in the Homestar Runner body of work, a character uses a noun and a verb together in quick succession. In text formats, the words are usually connected together with a hyphen.
I do enjoy that up until he says the words are connected together with a hyphen. That's just how grammar works. Like, up until he mentions that, it just sounds like using a verb and a noun in rapid succession is just how talking is.
Strong Bad thinks that video games would be marketed better if they had graphics have printed on the box.
A disclaimer during Homestar's mumbled account reads actual talksay. Sign up for the Delete Heads mailing list and we'll let you know when we engage in cool new stuff make.
Yeah, I can see why they made a page for this, because it's definitely something that I noticed, but I I never considered categorizing all the times when it happened.
There's the this is under real world references here on the HR Wiki page for Kind of Cool, and this is just gonna to tie up. Thanks HR Wiki. It says thanks for choosing Strong Bad Email. Would you like to try a combo meal? Is a take on the way fast food cashiers greet customers at the drive-thru.
It's a very thanks HR Wiki moment.
It's just
it wasn't obvious from the fact that they actually say in the cartoon that it is a crappy drive-through whale.
Yeah.
It's or the one immediately after it. Soderbergh is most likely a reference to Steven Soderbergh.
Are you sure? You sure there, bud?
That's the only human being who has like the last name Soderbergh and would be like worth referencing.
I love me a good Soderbergh.
That sounds like.
I think you can get those at Five Guys.
I was about to say that sounds like Senor Cardgage trying to say soda. Hey there, Carabeth. Could you perchance to grasp me a Soderbergh?
Hell yeah, I'll grab you a Soderbergh. He grabs a can of butter da from off screen.
Well, folks, I think that brings us to the end of the Senor Cardgage Toxay Appreciation Hour.
Yeah,
we did actually get a question.
Oh, that is true.
We didn't. We asked a couple times, but
no, we did.
The only question we got was it Summer?
Oh no, Dan sent one before when right after we started recording.
That's right.
I need to get better at reading.
Mike,
do you think Senor Cardgage is a distant relative of the Brothers Strong?
I feel
like he can't be.
I actually have a theory about this though, because I don't know if this is just because Strong Bad would like this to be true, but apparently in the Dangeresque 3 episode of the Strong Bad School Game for Attractive People, he calls Senor Cardgage plays a character whose name is Dadgeresque, who's implied to be Dangeresque's father. So it does lead me to wonder whether or not at least Strong Bad thinks that maybe Senor Cardgage is his dad. And
we never see their parents. We don't know what the genealogical situation's looking like for them.
That's true. I mean, the only character whose parents we actually see is Hamsar.
Yeah.
Was famously, I believe,
I think that Senor Cardgage only looks like Strong Bad in the way that Jeffrey Dean Morgan looks like Brad Garrett.
They do look very alike.
Hold on, just let me Google those two people's names real quick here. Sorry, could you say their names again?
Jeffrey Dean Morgan and Brad Garrett. They're both just kind of scruffy guys with kind of baggy
They have wide
eyelids.
faces.
Yeah. Brad Garrett is just a shaved Jeffrey Dean Morgan. holds a shaved up Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Behold, Brad Garrett.
A real human man.
Brad Garrett is a real human man.
Just like Crack Stuntman.
Yeah, it looks like we've got a second episode that's named X is a Real Human Man.
Kids don't play with too many knives.
Yeah, this is a very special episode of The Stick, where we're making sure to let the little childrens know not to play with too many knives.
Yeah.
Well, I think in this case that hope that answers your question. I think that now does bring to an end our episode of The Stick here. I'd like to thank Matt for being on.
Hello, I'm about to go to bed.
Right, Matt, would you like to plug any of the other stuff here on this podcast that's definitely not listened to by just our friends?
Go to noisespace.xyz, and also you can go to patreon.com/noisespace to donate to the network as a whole, so I don't have to pay the hosting costs anymore.
I did that thing.
Yeah, I really like that. I have my personal Patreon account linked up with this one, and I donate to shows that then donate back to me. So we're just
makes sense to me.
We're basically just giving Patreon $10.
Matt, I have a question. Is this a pyramid scheme?
It's just a pyramid scheme.
And/or a multi-level marketing scam? One of the two?
Is this some kind of business triangle?
Excuse me, Matt Sheba. Is this some kind of multi-level Maoist?
Excard on me.
Is this some kind of med-level Maoist?
Yes. Would you like to thank our cover art artist and our musical artist?
Yes, I would like to thank a friend of the show, Summer Geist, for doing our show art. The links to her stuff will be in the description of the podcast as well. Go check out My Pod Cabbages, which is her and friend of the show Noah's podcast here on Noise Space. And I'd also like to thank SoundCloud user Hyperchicken for letting us use his song "Always Beezing and Doozing" as the theme song for today's and all other episodes. I've been Eden. You can find me on Twitter at TP_Albuquerque, and also on the podcast HKIP, Henry Kissinger's Pokemon Going to Die.
I'm David. You can find me on Twitter at Daves, spelled like the funny landlord waves with 3 V's, and that's my social media presence.
All right.
And you can find me and Matt on Tuning Fork, which is a podcast about Pitchfork Media and how they created and wrecked several careers.
It's a good time.
I would eventually, when and if you guys eventually do Oakland Azul Asylum, I want to be on that episode. So I think that
Hell yeah.
I think that one won Best New Music.
Probably.
I think it did.
One of Wise Records won Best New Music, and if you guys ever do that one, I want to talk about that one. Anyways, folks, I think that's the end of the road here for today's episode. Thank you for listening, and as always, no Probalo.
No Probalo.
Probably not.
Shivering, I'm